Hey everyone, and welcome to Small Step Saturday. I'm so excited that you're here. Every single Saturday, I teach you something new or share a skill or a life tip with you that will make your life so much easier or better, right? And today I'm going to do something a little bit different. I would love to create a crowdsource about holiday traditions. So I'm going to share my own, and I invite you to share yours in the comments as well. Now, listen, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss a single thing. I'm completely committed to helping you build the life that you have been dreaming about. Now, we happen to celebrate Christmas in my family, so I'm going to share between Thanksgiving and New Year's. However, I have a lot of friends who celebrate a lot of different holidays based on their culture, based on their own religions, and I invite you all to share what you love to do on the holidays you love to celebrate in the comments. In addition, you can tell me if there's anything I do that you do as well, if you have a favorite childhood memory, etc. If you go through and look at my holiday content, you will notice I talk a lot about traditions, about the importance of traditions, the way that they root us in our families and communities, the way that they represent our history, right? And I also talk a lot about creating new traditions and how that can really create connections in blended families, how that can be so impactful if you're celebrating the holidays alone or if you don't have children, right? Because we often forget all of the different ways that tradition impacts our lives and creates a legacy or creates a connection to our community, ourselves, or the things that we love, right? So today we're going to celebrate tradition and I'm going to share with you all of the things that we do. Now, many of you may know that I grew up in a household where we didn't have traditions. I was the child of divorced parents. We went back and forth. We did not have any traditions that carried over. We didn't even have traditions in one house or the other. That was really hard for me growing up. I always thought that I was kind of weird because everyone else had holiday traditions and we didn't. And as an adult, I absolutely vowed to over the top have all the traditions so that when my kids became adults, they could pick and choose what they wanted. They could pick new ones. It's an important thing to remember that it's not a commitment. My kids are not committed to do the traditions I did, to carry them on, to embrace them, or to love them. They are just the traditions that I enjoyed celebrating with them, and they can pick and choose the ones they want. Maybe not do any of them at all, maybe do completely different ones. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with them. The thing about tradition is that it shouldn't be pressure, it shouldn't be miserable, it should be something that accentuates the holidays. So we're going to think of traditions kind of like, accessories to our holidays. They're not the whole outfit, they are what brings that extra shine or that extra sparkle to the season. So, without further ado, let's talk about my personal traditions so that you can just get to know me a little bit better. So, one, I host Thanksgiving dinner. I make Thanksgiving dinner. Now, I'm going to tell you the absolute truth about why I host Thanksgiving dinner. I host Thanksgiving dinner because I love to cook and I love my cooking most. Okay. Thanksgiving is a holiday that's all about the food. I absolutely love Thanksgiving food. And so I cook it because I don't like giblets in my dressing. I don't like the stuffing in the turkey. I like it outside the turkey. By the way, for those of you wondering, dressing is technically on the side, stuffing is in the bird. And in northern states, we typically say stuffing. In southern states, they typically say dressing. It's a whole thing. But I like my own stuff better. This has actually worked really well for me because many of you know that I have some food allergies and sensitivities. And so now I have to modify a lot with the meal. And so it's really, really important that I get to make, for example, I make dairy-free, gluten-free, green bean casserole, which I love, and I make gluten-free stuffing and, so I do all of that, and I would not expect somebody else to do that. It's a lot of work, it's really hard, and it's really complicated. So anyways, I prepare Thanksgiving dinner. We usually have a formal sit-down dinner with china in the whole 9 yards, and we pass at the table. Usually, it's my family with my 5 kids, their significant others, their kids, and then my in-laws come and my mom comes. My mom and stepdad come. At any rate, but we have had as many as 25 people here for Thanksgiving. Yes, all sitting at a table. I like to decorate a fancy table. If y'all look back in the day on my Instagram, you'll find it because, of course, I have a reel of my holiday spread. But at any rate, that's what we do for Thanksgiving. We kind of have a mellow weekend, actually. I do a little bit of Cyber Monday shopping. I'm not super into Black Friday shopping. I do some Cyber Monday shopping, but we have a pretty mellow weekend because we get a real tree. So I don't know how many of y'all have fake trees. We have a real tree every single year. My husband's family switched to a fake tree at some point in his childhood, and he just can't get past it. So we have always had a real tree for many years. We went to the exact same Christmas tree lot he went to as a little boy. It unfortunately closed. I live in Michigan. For those of you who don't know, Michigan is, I think, the number one exporter of Christmas trees in the country. So I have definitely have my pick. We always get a Douglas fir. Okay. We always do it the first week in December, except this year when our youngest asked us to change it so that he could be home for that. And we always listen to the exact same music. We have a set of songs by Harry Connick Jr. We play them in the car on the way there and on the way back. We get home with our tree. They get it set up in the stand and we drink hot cocoa. That is the way it works. We even have a tradition about how we get our Christmas tree. No, we don't chop it down. We get it from a Christmas tree lot usually. So that's how we do that. We always like to decorate together. This is not something that happens all the time because our kids are adults now, as you all know. So, whoever wants to come over, my husband usually will throw on a big pot of chili. If you don't get a real tree, you may not be aware, but you have to wait at least 24 hours for the branches to kind of come out of their little cocoon. So, we wait that 24 hours, and then whoever wants to come comes. My husband makes a big pot of chili. Everybody now it's a little bit more rowdy, but it used to be that everybody put their ornaments on one at a time. It's kind of important with a real tree because some of the branches just aren't strong enough to hold some of those heavier ornaments. I mean, it just is what it is. So sometimes the littler ones need help with that. We always have I started a few years ago when my kids were almost all adults, when my youngest was in high school. I started getting them all an ornament, every year that represents some accomplishment or something that they did in the year. This is my tradition with our kids. Every tradition almost I would say almost every tradition my husband is really involved in some way. In this particular one, he doesn't even know what these ornaments are until they open them oftentimes. So, but they get ornaments, they love them. My all of our adult kids are welcome to take all of their ornaments for their own homes. Most of the time they leave at least some of them here. I actually think we have some of everyone's ornaments here. And so we put those on the tree. Our tree is a hodgepodge. Our house is a hodgepodge. In the weekend we get our tree, we also decorate our whole house. Okay. The first thing that comes out in our house is all of our nativities. So the nativities get set up, we go get the tree, we bring the tree in. While the tree's settling, we work on decorating the rest of the house, usually predominantly me. I love the Christmas decorations. And then I give them their ornaments, we decorate the tree. This is just a ton of fun. We listen to Christmas music. It's really mellow. There's not a lot of pressure about this. Um, it's just a super easy thing to do. After the tree is decorated and all the kids go to bed, okay, my husband and I sit in front of the tree every single year. We listen to Kenny G, Christmas music, specifically the Faith album, and we talk about the year that we have just come through. We talk about what's happened in the year, things that we're proud of, things that maybe are still unsettled or unresolved. We talk about what is going on, right? In our family right now, where each of our kids are, where our business is, where we feel like we are. And then we talk about the coming year and years. And we talk about where we see ourselves at the end of next year. What is our vision? What is our dream? What is our goal? What are we working towards together? Where are we? Where are we hoping to see our kids land? What are we hoping to see happen there? And so we have this tree time where we take the time to really um, talk through what's happened. And while we do that on a regular basis, we kind of do a year in review and really talk about what's going through the next year. Oftentimes at this time, I'll also tell my husband what my vision board word is for the new year because I create an intention word for every year. And usually around this time, I actually am thinking about that and I have come up with my intention word. So I share that with him. He does not create an intention word, y'all. That's okay. He always enjoys hearing mine though. One of the other things that we now do, what we used to do is go see Santa, right? We take the kids, we go see Santa, and we get their picture taken with Santa. And we had a whole hoo ha around that as well with the music in the car and the whole thing. Um, so we would go see Santa. We don't do that anymore because all of our kids are grown. But one of the things that we do now is we do gift making with our grandkids. So I love to craft, I love doing Christmas crafts. And I have 2 granddaughters who are 4 years old. We started this last year and they love it. They make little, holiday ornaments or other things. We've done holiday ornaments so far for the parents and the grandparents for Christmas. And then they decide who gets what and we wrap them all up and we send them on their way. This is a really, really special thing. I enjoy doing it with the grandkids, and they love being able to give people gifts. It just makes them feel so special and so big to be able to give gifts. I highly recommend this. If you have little ones in your life, taking the time to make Christmas gifts with them is really, really cool. It's such a neat experience. I have been asked about this before. Yes, we always make one also for the dads. My daughters are no longer with the dads. We make one for the dads. We make one for the dad's parents. Um, and we also make one for my husband's ex-wife and her husband because the kids want somebody, they want to give gifts to everybody, y'all. Okay. And as I consistently say, especially related to blended families, it is all about the kids. It's about the kids. So we make them for literally everyone, and they make one for me too. We wrap it all up. Usually by Christmas, I remember what it was, but not exactly, because we have so much that happens between Christmas and New Year. And really, this can happen anytime between Thanksgiving and New Year. It's just about between Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's about when my daughter from Arizona is in town. My girls love this tradition because what actually happens here is I say, you two go out and have fun. And grandma's got the babies, and we do this fun thing together, and they get their own mom time, which is super nice for them. So they get some sister time in there. The other big event that I love hosting, and this year it's not actually going to happen. It's the first year aside from the pandemic that this hasn't happened, is called Cookie Weekend. Usually on Cookie Weekend, I prepare a lot of cookie dough. We've had up to 30 kids attend Cookie Weekend. They come to my house usually on Saturday. Most of them don't leave until Sunday, but people can come and go whenever they want. We make all kinds of cookies. We cut them, we decorate them, we make every kind of cookie, and we dip pretzels in chocolate, and we make Teddy S'more bark. Which, if y'all want to know, I can put the recipe in the comments. It's super, super easy. But we do all of this stuff, and we just have a blast. We play Christmas music. My husband got in on this, and on Saturday night after dinner, we have a gingerbread house competition. We have pre-made gingerbread houses. We split into 2 teams. We each make our houses, and then we make everybody who comes in our house vote on the houses. They've all gotten on board with this. It took some time to get everybody in this, because nobody knows which house anybody made. But we do that. I tend to be the champion of that competition. It's a thing. So I tend to be the champion of that competition. And we really enjoy doing it. So at any rate, that tradition came from my childhood. I used to go to my best friend's house when I was a kid and make cookies with her and her mom. Her mom used to make cookies. This was a thing back in the day for all the people, like the mailman and the paper boy and just different people like that. That was not an uncommon thing then. And we used to help her decorate. I think more out of necessity, but I loved it so much growing up that I started doing it with my kids. And they started inviting their friends, and we started inviting all the cousins, and it's really fun. It sounds chaotic. There ends up being flour and sprinkles all over my kitchen. I find sprinkles until New Year's, but it is so fun. It is so fun, and it is such a great event. I don't keep the cookies. Most of the cookies, I don't keep. I actually give them to the kids. So it's kind of funny because it took a lot of people a long time to realize that the kids weren't helping me make cookies. At first, everyone thought I needed help making cookies, and that's why their kids were coming. And then they realized that the cookies all go home with the kids. So it's just a fun little event to do. The next event we have is Christmas Eve. So we always do cookie weekend about a week before Christmas. We usually take some cookies for Christmas Eve. We do Christmas Eve at my mother in law's house. That has always been a thing in my husband's family. They started doing Christmas Eve in his family when he was, I want to say, 7, um, because one year for Christmas, his parents gave them a trip to Disney and they needed to open their gifts and get on the road because it was a road trip. So they started doing it on Christmas Eve, which has worked pretty well because my family celebrates Christmas on Christmas Day. So we've never really had that, multiple families on the same day thing. We have all of our kids on Christmas Eve. I explained that in the blended family video, why it is that we have the stepkids every Christmas Eve, but we do. And we have them every Christmas Eve. We used to get them all little outfits. Then we switched to when they got older, we switched to ugly sweaters when they didn't want to do the frilly dresses anymore. And they usually bring their PJs and change into their PJs there. My in laws have a really structured Christmas Eve. The kids usually do some sort of performance. There's some kind of reading. Sometimes there's a game. We open gifts. There's a lot of preparation that goes into it. And it is very structured. It's always fun for the kids to create their performance every year, especially when they were little. Now, our oldest son actually is a karaoke DJ on the side. Like, that's a fun weekend job he has. So now he hosts karaoke at the Christmas Eve party for the last couple years. And that has actually been a lot of fun for everybody. When we leave there, we come home. Kids all go to bed and we start loading up the tree. We don't put out any gifts for our kids until Christmas Eve. Not from us, not none of them. We don't put anything out except for extended family members. If y'all are interested in tips on wrapping, I have a regular wrapping and a sustainable wrapping video to help you out with that whole process. But we don't put out the gifts until Christmas Eve. One of the unique things in our house is that even though our kids are adults, up until this will be the first year that our children have not slept in our house on Christmas Eve night. Our daughter, who lives in Arizona, is not always here. They have been going back and forth every other year. They're not doing that anymore, as is understandable. Her daughter is now 4. And her waking up at home on Christmas morning is a massive priority. Same thing with our daughter who lives here in Michigan. So up in last year, all 5 of our kids, their partners, and our grandkids all woke up in our house. That's not actually an uncommon thing for us. Our adult kids will sometimes stay here for big events. We tend to leave Christmas Eve later in the evening. They like to come back here. They generally will go downstairs. We have a nice little game room set up, and they will watch Polar Express and other Christmas movies and take some snacks down there, and they just kind of crash. And then on Christmas morning, we are woken up by our kids singing us a Christmas carol. I did not start this. Our oldest child started this. So our son started this with all the other kids. This is part of what happens when you have 5 kids, is the oldest will create a tradition for all the other kids. So I have no idea what happens here. I think that whoever's up first wakes up all the other kids, and then they come knock on our bedroom door and start singing Christmas carols. Could not make that up if I tried. It is just as sweet as you think it is. Like, just as sweet as you think it is. And once we tell them that we're up, somebody will go turn on the coffee. So now that they're all grown-ups, we get woken with a Christmas carol and coffee. I know. I bet all of you with 2-year-olds and 4-year-olds right now are thinking, "Wouldn't that be the dream?" Or those of you who are single to have somebody making you coffee, on Christmas morning, it is awesome. We open our gifts in a very structured way. One person opens at a time. We have a specific order. Our kids just found out a couple years ago that all of the gifts are actually numbered, on the gift tags. So we kind of hide a number on the gift tags, and we put them all together. So there's like one gift for each of them that's the first gift to be opened, one gift for each of them that's the second. What we have historically done is had a Christmas budget, and we get the same number of gifts for our kids. That's fluctuating now that they're a little bit older, because as we get into older kids, sometimes they want a bigger thing, right? That affects the budget a little differently. So that's the way that works, but our kids are now old enough to really understand, something like, "I want something really badly that is very expensive, so that's what I'm getting for Christmas." So we do that. Then we have brunch. We always make brunch. My husband and I, really, enjoy cooking together, so we do a big brunch. We have, eggs and breakfast meat and waffles, and we make vegan and gluten-free options on all of this stuff and hash browns, and it's a whole shebang. I always forget the orange juice. This year, I'm hoping I'll remember the orange juice. I tend to forget it. Then our older 3 go with their biological mom. This is how this has always worked. They go at around 2:30 on Christmas Day, to her house. We actually go to my mom's house. So, we go over to my mom's house. So my husband and I and our 2 kids go to my mom's house, and we do Secret Santa with that side of the family. So everybody over 18 who wants to participate does Secret Santa. Everyone under 18 gets gifts. So, we are a widespread blended family. I'm the oldest. My youngest sibling is 17 years younger than me. And so because of that, I have adult kids. I have grandkids that are the ages of my niece and nephew. So it's really, really important that we still are engaging with the little ones on Christmas, but we also like to do an adult Secret Santa because we have so many adult kids and adult grandkids, like adult nieces and nephews, that we really, really enjoy this. Also, I have a blended family on my mom's side, and my mom married her current husband when all of the kids involved were adults. And so this is really a nice way also for us to connect with our new step siblings, right? So I have 4 siblings, and then my stepmom and my mom actually both remarried, when all the kids involved were adults. So those families brought in, my mom's new husband has 2 children, and my stepmom's new husband has 4 children. My dad passed away, so my stepmom is still a parent in my life, even though she's remarried, but he has 4 children. So I have also 6, yes, 6 step siblings, that I met as adults. And so that's a really cool way to kind of integrate our families. It's also a great way to involve the significant others of our kids, right? When your kids get older and they start inviting people to family events, doing a Secret Santa is a nice way to make sure everybody has something to open without anyone feeling like a lot of pressure about what to get. Um, the day after Christmas has always been our play day. So we play with the kids. We just get out the toys, we watch movies, maybe we play a family board game, and we hang out. So that is our tradition. Now, New Year's, we have a big tradition where our younger 2 kids, because our older kids have always historically been out for various different reasons. But in the last few years, I'm going to say in the last 5 years or so, we started a tradition where we do New Year's dinner. All of our older kids were out of the house at that point, but it's never too late to start a tradition. We did that in part because with my food allergies and sensitivities, Christmas can be really challenging for me, eating wise, right? My mom tries really hard to accommodate my food issues. And so, but at the same time, it's just not the same. So I tend to let the kids pick something that they want for New Year's dinner. I modify it so that I can eat it too. And we have a big feast on New Year's Eve. It's usually prime rib, a charcuterie board's involved, a Yule log, twice baked potatoes, just all kinds of nonsense things that everybody just likes to eat. We stay up until midnight. We always watch the ball drop. Those of us over 21 drink champagne. Our youngest, who is going to be 21 this coming year, drinks sparkling grape juice. We have offered champagne. We've even told him it's legal in our state for us to let him have a glass of champagne, but he's a rule follower and he's not 21. So we'll see what happens in 2024. But those are our Christmas traditions, our holiday traditions in general. I want to hear yours. I want to hear yours. I want to hear what you do for the holidays that make them extra special. I cannot wait. I am hoping that for people who don't have holiday traditions, for people like me who didn't grow up with holiday traditions, who are trying to create new holiday traditions for themselves or for their families, I'm hoping that we can inspire them and that we can help them, right? And that we can create a community where we spread joy and we help enrich each other's lives in this way. So tell me your favorite of my traditions, ones that maybe you do too, or your favorite of your own traditions or favorite memories of holiday traditions in the comments. And let's lean into each other this holiday season and create some really special and amazing memories. Okay, happy holidays. Merry Christmas to all of you, and I hope that the season is amazing for you. Remember that you are absolutely amazing and you deserve to live the life you have been dreaming of. Bye, everyone.